Russia has accused NATO and the U.S. of provoking a new level tension after the U.S. and Germany became the latest allies to let Ukraine's military use Western-supplied weapons to strike targets inside Russia. Berlin spokesman said Germany was convinced Ukraine had a right to defend itself from Russia, especially from cross-border attacks on its second-largest city, Kharkiv. This comes after U.S. officials said American-supplied weapons could be used to counter Russian fire near the Kharkiv region, either where Russian forces were hitting them or preparing to hit them. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said the decision would help protect civilians living in villages close to the Russian border. And to talk about this, I'm joined live on the news by an international analyst, Bolu Micheal-Biyi. Good evening. Glad to have you join me.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Let me just kick off with your reaction to these developments.
It's not a welcome development, being that what we'd like to see in the news is, the two parties sitting at the table to try to find a solution to this war. What we are seeing is sort of, a possible escalation in the sense that the subtle approval for the use of U.S. weapons on Russian soil shows that the strong support for Ukraine, and also it has wide-ranging implications as regards the conflict. So it's not a welcome development. We want to see a negotiation, not the use of weapons. And it doesn't even matter where the weapon is coming from, because on a daily basis people are still dying, whether it's from Russia or Iran, wherever the weapon is from, people are dying, and it's very sad development.
But then how do you think this policy shift impacts the ongoing conflicts between Ukraine and Russia?
As for Ukraine, that would be, it kind of strengthens their military capability, because the U.S. weapons are very, very high-tech and super dangerous and all that. So it kind of enhances their defense capability to stand against Russian aggression. But on the flip side, from the Russian side, if they perceive such such approval as provocative, then they may want to up their game as well by using more dangerous weapons, maybe chemical weapons, or even heavier weapons, whatever it may be. They may want to level up as well, or go all out if they perceive it as a provocation.
Now, on a broader level, what does this development mean for broader geopolitical tensions between Russia and the West?
Because they are now taking a more direct involvement in the war, kind of, they're standing, strong and taking total side with the Ukrainians, kind of pitches Russia against NATO, and it has wide implication, because now it goes beyond the war. It might go beyond the war. It can affect their trade relations. It can affect, information sharing and other things involved. So it goes beyond the war. It can lead to diplomatic strain beyond the conflict.
Let me ask you how you think these can escalate or even de-escalate in the coming weeks or months.
There are possible varying scenarios. So in a couple of weeks or months, we can expect 3 or more things. First would be, of course, an escalation, because now the Russians may now want to use heavier weapons. They might want to level up with the technology that Ukrainians will now be using. And the way the Russians are, they never stop at military. They might want to launch maybe cyber attacks as well against the Western interest. And another scenario could be where they kind of have like a stalemate, like an even scenario, because now it seems like the Russians are having an upper hand. So the use of more advanced weapons can make the Ukrainians to be at the same level in terms of their military operation. And there's surprisingly a positive side to this, being that this can trigger the rest of the world to put pressure on both parties to now sit at the table and enhance diplomatic efforts, because they'll be like, we don't like what's going on. You guys come to the table, start talking. We don't want to see you all using heavy weapons. So don't be surprised in a couple of weeks if you see 1 or 2 UN meetings that's going to take place.
Well, time like this, say we tell, but thank you so much for your perspective on the news. Bolu Micheal-Biyi, international analyst. Thank you once again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.